Hey Sagittarius, welcome to your November reading. It is timeless though. Sometimes it will come up in newsfeed a year later, and people always say, that was just what I needed to hear. Okay, so Sagittarius, let's just dive into it. Well, this is definitely a big month for you. Be okay that you're going through some stuff, okay? In terms of like the bigger theme that you're going through, wow, well, you're right at this like threshold into crossing over into like a softer way of living life. Um, but like your challenge is you're like, but isn't it more complex than that? Isn't it more complex than that? So the example I want to give you is like dating. Some people are like, oh, we need to make sure that our values are the same, that we have the same future, the same vision, that, we also have sexual chemistry, emotional chemistry, and intellectual chemistry. But then, like some of the best advice that I've ever heard that's been consistent amongst couples that have been together 30 plus years, they're just like, look, like none of that matters. Like you both either sure in the beginning when you're honeymooning and falling in love, they're like, but you're gonna change. And like my partner and I've had the conversation 3 times where it was like look, I don't wanna leave and start all over, but my needs have changed. And I don't think you've been taking me seriously when I've been having requests to do XYZ. Like I have different needs now. And it was like, so it's either both people either have the desire or they don't. Find someone who's agreeable, someone who can communicate, someone who has some flexibility and adaptability, but doesn't like sacrifice their needs, right? We don't need any codependents or narcissists. We don't need either of those two. It's like, so you have to know someone who's like authentic. Like that's what they all say. Someone who's just like generally good natured, good kinded, adaptable, flexible. Um, so it's you're just not willing to let go of like how complex it is to like drop in to this softer life. And I'm also feeling called to share. There's this book I was reading by, I think it's Robert Johnson. I'll drop a link. It will be an Amazon affiliate link. But I'll drop a link to the book down below. In there, he talks about like 3 states of being. There's the beginning stage of life when you're at your innocence, your purity, your youthful optimism. Then there's the second stage, which is where most Western people are at, which is the complex phase. What can happen is the third phase is Satori, enlightenment, groundedness, presence. And the first stage and the third stage from the outside look exactly the same. Like you can't tell the difference between someone who's just a little kid enjoying their sandwich because they have no cares of the world, or that person who's realized, yes, I know there's wars going on around the world, but like right now, I'm eating a sandwich with my best friend. Um, and so the complex man just makes everything harder. It's like, no, 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 no. He said he loved me, but was he in a good frame of mind? Does he actually know the real me and everything I need? Let's test him a little. Well, he asked me to marry him, but I don't know. Like the complex phase is just making everything harder than it has to be. Satori is, they said that. That was nice to hear. I liked that. I felt the same way. Let's see how it goes. Right? The little kid's just like, hee hee, I'm married to you. And then, oh, I'm married to you. Like, right? Little kids are lit. A little 5-year-old was hanging out with, got married like 5 times this weekend. It's like, wow. But the Satori person understands, okay, you said that. I like that. And it's where just because if someone says that, especially at the beginning phases of a relationship or a job employment place, like you don't go all in though. You might go all in on your effort, on your diligence, on producing good work because that's who you are at the core of your being. But you don't just like go, oh my God, they said they want the same thing as me. I love you. And then like, emotionally go all in. It's supposed to be a little bit more of like oh, that sounds really good. It sounds like we're on the same page. This is exciting. I can't wait to continue to get to know you more. When were you free next? And then instead of like, oh, I just met the love of my life, the complex man, it's, wow, I just went on a date with this girl and it seems like our values are aligned. Like I'm actually looking forward to the 3rd date, the 4th date. Yeah, things are going pretty well. We're on our 8th date now. I think it's like time to, kind of make sure no one's dating or seeing anyone else. I want to lock her in. Like it's that, like that Sagittarius. But it looks like how this is playing out in your day-to-day life. There's just a lot of sadness right now. There's a lot of like grief. There's a lot of like loss. It's almost as if there's something that you don't want to give up on because you're like, no, I put in time, I put in energy, I put in effort. Um, but guys, time, energy, and effort with like the wrong person, right? If Google Maps is telling you to go right and you go left, no amount of lefts, but I've been going in lefts for forever. It's eventually got to pay off, right? No, eventually you're going to have to, you're going to have to go right. So just know that you're feeling extremely sad. And that's why it's hard for you to like let go of the complexity or making things more complicated. Like, oh, no, no, no. She was just in a bad mood. She worked overtime. She didn't mean to yell at me that way. Guys, I've even had a person when I was younger and I was the one who like, I got stressed out and I started yelling and I exploded. And they were just, you could tell that like stress hit them too. And they were like, well, I appreciate everything you shared. I think I just need to let this, like, we should let this simmer. Do you think we could come back together on Friday to talk about this more? And I was like, I was blown away. I was like, wow. Wow. So guys, like, it's like kind of time to stop making excuses, because thinking that you invested so much and not letting go, like that's what's causing you the pain and the hurt. Because once you cross over, because you got the veil card, let me show you. Once you cross over the veil, it's like, oh, this is what the flow is. This is what alignment is. This is what ease and softness feels like. But like, look at the picture. When you walk through a waterfall, when the water's rushing down you, like it's kind of like, whoa, that's like intense. Once you get to the other side, you're like, oh, look at this cool cave on the inside, right? So as you're crossing through the veil to the softer side, there is like you're feeling the intensity of, but wait, here's everything I'm leaving behind. The only thing hurting you is from here's everything I'm leaving behind, instead of, okay, let's get through this. Let's go towards the new. Are you looking at what you're losing and leaving behind in the chapter that you're ending and winding down? Are you going, oh, here's the next book I'm reading. I wonder what this book is about. Okay, in terms of your recent past, wow. You just really don't want to give up on something. You're like, no, I've been watering and nurturing it and trimming it and fertilizing it. I really don't want to let go of this. I built it into something beautiful that I've done all I can do. I've got it to level 7 out of 10. Now it's either like it needs to grow on its own or it's someone else needs to come in and like do their part. I've done my part. Yeah, so it makes sense because it's kind of like you've built up like a city. You're like, but the city's so beautiful, and like, no, I just like thought that they would come around. I thought they just needed time, but you've like, built a custom house and you've been living with them for a while, and you're like, God, do I really want to give all this up? Because you're like looking at the journey ahead. You're looking at it as I'm gonna have to go so far to get to what I got here. But the difference is, what you're not like recognizing yet, is that you got as far as you did out of alignment. So of course it either took more time or took more work on your part. When you're in alignment, one action is the equivalent to like 1,000 actions out of alignment. So it's just like right now you're like, I can't leave because gosh, it will take so much work and effort and time to get it back. And like, and going into the near future, it looks like you're not going to make a decision on this to like cross over into the soft life because you got the maze card. So it's kind of like it's literally like a refusal to let go of the complexity, the refusal to let go of the like stubborn. I'm going to wait here until this starts growing. Like, well, guys, like I live in Tennessee. And what a lot of the farmers here say is like you have to do raised beds and you have to buy soil and fertilizer. because a lot of the natural dirt in Tennessee is clay. And she was like, I was actually made. She's like, I would try to add fertilizer to the clay. I would till the clay, throw in hay. I would till the clay, add in soil to the clay. When I finally just tried a raised bed, my crop yield was 10x. She's like, and I didn't have to keep tilling the soil. I didn't have to, she's like, I just kind of sucked it up. I thought it was going to be more work to bring in truckloads of dirt, build beds. She's like, and it was effort, but once it's up, she's like, now it's been going for 5 years now, and my crops are 10x. I hope that helps you, Sagittarius. It really does. It really does. I really do. Where's my cards? Is there anything they need to hear about this maze? And what, oh, you just don't want it to be over. You're looking back nostalgically, and there's just a part that's like, no, all those like fights meant passion, all those, like, you're like, there must be more there. There must be something there. And man, I hate to deliver brutal messages, Sagittarius. I really do. What comes to mind is, I can't remember if it was a study or if it was a psychology book. I read this like 20 years ago, but it was about like gambling. And back in the day, you had to put a quarter into the slot. And it was that person that when they put a quarter in, the odds are the same every single time, and the odds are in the house's favor. Let's just say it's like 51-49. Every single time you put a quarter in, the odds are still 51-49. But what happens to the people who've been sitting there for a while, they're like, no, 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 I've been putting so much money in. It's due for a payout. Once I get up and leave, the next person's going to sit down and bank up on my money. Like, no, no. Every single time you sit down, the odds start all over. Every single time you put a new quarter in, it's the exact same odds. It doesn't get more in your favor. If I just keep going, put another quarter in, I'll win. Right? So it's just like, you're not ready yet to give up the story. Sorry, Sagittarius. It looks like your personal power, this personal power this month is to be in a place of manifesting or set an intention to gain clarity. I would like clarity. I would like a mental breakthrough. And you could be in a place of, I either want the mental breakthrough so that I can see how to enjoy this, or I can move on with a lighter feeling heart. But universe, no matter what, I need the breakthrough and the clarity. And what can often happen then is, from personal experience and with my clients, is that they'll tend to see like, oh, this is what it would take to make this job work, to make this relationship work. They'll see it and they'll be, oh, that's not worth the sacrifice, actually. Yeah, Sagittarius, my heart just goes out to you. It just looks like you're in a tough month of trying to make it more complicated than it is. And like one more story that's come to my mind right now is I saw like this guy's short form media, and he was like, yeah, I'm a diagnosed narcissist, and I'm going to tell you guys how I view dating and the women I'm currently dating right now. And in one of them, he was, the funny part is, you all accuse me of being a liar and a manipulator. He's like, but I don't need to lie and manipulate. I say I won't see you again for 3 weeks, and if the woman likes me enough, she'll lie to herself. I don't lie. I allow them to live in their delusion. Oh, like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry. That might be brutal, Sagittarius. I'm really, really sorry. It looks like outside influences. Okay, so why it's a little hard for you is because, the other party in this situation, like, they're disappointed too. They're like, you're just going to give it all up? So I see why it's hard for you to walk away. Like, they're literally viewing it as like, you're ending it, you're walking away. But like, you came down, Sagittarius, to transform and to live a couple of different lives, Gold medal Olympian athletes have to go through this. They train for that for a while in their youth, and then there hits a point where they're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I have to be a different way. Like, no one wants to be that 70-year-old still competing in the Olympics, And not only that, but you can't because you got the 20-year-olds there. You don't want to be that like 70-year-old at the club with 20-year-olds. You might get lucky 1 out of 100 times you go, or maybe you did. Maybe you came down to live that life. But you got to ask yourself that: did you come down to live that life for the rest of your life? Um, okay, in terms of your hopes or fears is that you just haven't given it enough time to flourish. In terms of your outcome for this month, it looks like no matter what, you're gonna just kind of hit this like wall moment where you're like, okay, no matter what, I need to start feeling more creative and more inspired. I need to start having that zest for life. So it looks like you're gonna get into, no matter what happens, I need to start feeling zesty and zingy for life again. And I need to feel like rejuvenated, refreshed, and like some giddiness and some enthusiasm in my life. I want to feel creative again, like I can create. Like, universe, remind me that I'm a powerful co-creator. So emotionally at the end of like the month or the end of this read, whenever I do your next read, you're gonna like hit a okay, I just have to start feeling good moment. Well, I hope this reading helps, Sagittarius. I go live Monday through Friday for free, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, where I channel a general message and get into free mini reads for people. So come hang out. And if you want to meet your own spirit guide, there's a link in the description. You enter your name and email, and I will email you the meditation to take you on a journey to the Temple of the Masters, where you can develop your own connection to Source and your spirit guides. Hope you guys have a good one. Bye.